So it seems that it's time for a big Warhammer 40k release week. We've got Lieutenant Titus finally coming out individually, Brutal and Cunning with Ratlings vs Tankbustas, individual releases for Vespid and Aquilons, and a few bits more besides. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're talking about Games Workshop's release schedule for this week, taking a look through all the things that are coming out, speculating on some possible prices, and any other thoughts as to the releases in general. As it goes, it looks like it's a fairly big release week that's relevant to Warhammer 40k. It mainly focuses on Kill Team, though I'd say the vast majority of the releases are pretty interesting for big style 40k. I'm sure there'll also be plenty of demand from Kill Team players looking to pick up a bunch of teams. Probably the new big box is the headline act with Brutal and Cunning. That's the one with Orky Tankbustas fighting versus Ratlings, though as mentioned there's a fair bit more. Pre-orders for this should be going live on Saturday the 7th of December, so the full release in stores will be around Saturday the 21st of November. So hopefully it should be arriving for the majority of people this side of Christmas, though things can slow down a bit I suppose. Besides the bigger ticket Kill Team box sets, there's also the terrain sets for the Volkus Terrain buildings, the ones from Hivestorm, and they did seem like quite functional 40k ruins. There's the individual release of Lieutenant Titus himself, finally going on full sale for Games Workshop after being released in a couple of sort of combo box type things. Then 12 different Kill Teams being released individually, including the Vespid and the Aquilons on their own for the first time. These will likely be following the trend of the other Kill Teams, which have been a bit more than you'd hope for, basically reboxed with a price increase for the majority of them. There's Dark Mechanicum coming to Legions Imperialis, a special edition of the Necron's Infinite and Divine book going on sale, and also White Dwarf 507, which has some Genestealer content apparently. In any case, quite a bit going on. There certainly were a fair few people waiting for one of the sets of the Kill Teams, or the big box with the Ratlings and the Tankbustas. As ever, if you were looking to pick these up, feel free to check out the channel's affiliate discount retailers on Saturday. They can save a fair bit of money versus Games Workshop, 15% off from Element Games in the UK, 21% at Gap Games in Australia, 10% for Fenris in Canada, 15% for Wargame Portal in the USA, and 16% for Taschengeldieb in Germany and the EU. Plenty of other great discount retailers out there of course, though these ones linked below help support the channel in the video description. A big thank you to anyone using them. For the release for the big box for Kill Team, this is one that might potentially sell out very quickly, judging by the past ones. There's a chance that Games Workshop might have rethought their plans for the new edition of Kill Team, but there's a good chance they might not. Basically every single versus Kill Team box set sold out disappointingly quickly in the past, and there's a good chance that discount retailers might get some very constrained supplies of them. When there's not much to go around, Games Workshop might often keep the majority for their web store. Here are the release dates for those stores just mentioned: midnight Eastern Time over in North America, 10 AM in the UK and 11 AM in the EU, or midday Australian Eastern Time for Gap Games. If you actually do want Ratlings and Tankbustas, then certainly aim to get there early. Though obviously hopefully Games Workshop makes enough of them this time around, otherwise it could be quite a long wait until you can pick up the units individually. Talking through the specific offerings then, let's start out with Brutal and Cunning. This one's the one with the new style Tankbustas versus new style Ratlings, likely pricing somewhere in the region of £90, €115 or $145 US. Those prices are based on the last one of this kind of pattern, Kill Team Termination, the one with the Brood Brothers and the Votan. There is a good chance it could be a little bit more than this. Games Workshop do seem to have jacked up the prices on their Kill Team releases into the new edition of the game, though on the other hand there could just be a tiny chance that they might charge a little bit less for Tankbustas or Ratlings. The Tankbustas have less models in the set than most Kill Teams, and the Ratlings are very tiny models compared with most. I'm still not sure I'd hold out much hope to that effect, but as a result I'm genuinely unsure whether it might be a little bit lower than Termination or a bit higher. In any case, contained within are those two Kill Teams, the rules for playing them and their cards, and the bunker wall terrain that apparently they have the Tankbustas with a mission trying to destroy the Ratlings who are holed up there. Both sets of the miniatures were fairly well received. The Tankbustas were perhaps one of the most necessary orc units that they needed to update. They were stuck with an older resin kit that wasn't really too fit for purpose. The new version of them upped the numbers from 5 of them to 6, and you still get the 2 bomb squigs. I guess you'd probably just be able to field 6 of them. I guess there's a small chance you might be allowed to double up the numbers to a full 12. The new models feel a bit more heavily armoured and chunkier looking. I wouldn't be too surprised if they get upgraded to a 4+ armour save, though I guess we'll see. And compared with the old ones, they maybe feel a bit more like serious gits who are intent on busting armour as opposed to crazed tank killing maniacs. Apparently there's enough bits to arm the squad with full ranged weapons, so lots of rockets as you'd normally expect them, but they have a surprising amount of melee gear on offer here. A tank hammer rocket on a stick, some sort of great big sledgehammer, and knuckle busters I think they were. Seems that you might be able to make an unusually fighty squad if you want to. In any case, I'll certainly be interested to take a look at the new datasheet for them, as they've been kind of badly served by the 10th edition rules so far. Otherwise in the box we also have the Ratlings, 10 models and a battle mod. They're quite characterful little halfling snipers. The specialists have some really fun little interesting details on them, and a lot of personality model to model. They might not necessarily be the best time thematically with every single Imperial Guard regiment out there, but in general their new models were pretty well received, and being available in 10 of them and that new tank stopper rifle should also mean that they get a new datasheet. Again, they weren't exactly the strongest guard unit in the world. With the current guard datasheet, the main draw tended to be to get a cheap infiltrating unit onto the army, though perhaps a little bit less ideal compared with some infiltrators given how fragile they are. In any case, I might be looking to pick this one up myself, given I quite happily add the Tankbustas to my orcs and the Ratlings to my guard. Next up, we've got Lieutenant Dimitri and Titus, the tie miniature with the Space Marine 2 game, having only been released in various slightly odd combined box sets up to now. He was available in the Target Space Marine 2 game, which I think was $40 with 20 termagants, and then the Space Marine 2 Recruit Edition, which came out around the world a bit more recently. I think supplies on that were kind of low. That was $65 with 10 termagants and paints, I believe. But now it looks like he's coming out at more regular character pricing. With this release, he's going to be odds on to be £26, €34 or $42. It means that if you're in the USA and you can land that Space Marine 2 game that's been on sale at Target, that makes a lot more sense given you get way more plastic. But I think for a lot of people around the world, just being able to order him in a more normal way from Games Workshop and discount retailers will be the way that people actually want to pick him up. I feel like for the miniature itself, while he's a cool character, maybe the actual representation of his model didn't get the most love in the world. I think he has broadly been popular though despite this. Kind of understandable given that he might be the single most recognisable 40k character out of just about anyone given the Space Marine 2 game. Next up we've got some 40k ruins with the Killzone Volkus Terrain set. These are the ruins that come in the Kill Team Hivestorm box sets, so a lot of people will already have those who pick them up there. I feel like as Games Workshop terrain that comes in boxes go, this one was one of the best releases for a while. Just really quite simple, effective and functional ruins, giving you a good terrain set both for Kill Team and Warhammer 40k. Getting terrain through Games Workshop is always pricier than just about anywhere else, though this one might be a little bit of a better option than some, depending on the final price of course. If they price this one the same amount as the other kill zones, then it could be £75, $125 or €100. I will hopefully make a follow-up video to talk about the final prices of these at some point later in the week. Kill Team Hivestorm is still available in plenty of places around the world. Element Games in the UK still has them, for example, at 20% off. So to compare the final price of this to the actual full Hivestorm box set and see whether or not the difference is worth the extra models, which could either be kept or resold potentially. Talking of which, the other constituent parts of the Hivestorm box sets are going on sale individually. The much feared Tankbustas Aquilons for the Astra Militarum and the Vespid for the Tau. Both of these will be useful to people who didn't want to pick up the entire Hivestorm box set just to get their hands on one unit if that's all you wanted, so I'm sure these will be of interest to some people. The Kill Team box sets these days come with their cardboard tokens. I don't know if that's part of the reason that Games Workshop just arbitrarily upped the prices on them, but they will be a little bit more expensive than your average, say, humanoid infantry 10 model box set. If they're going for the same price as the Kazakin, that'd be £42.50 or $65. The Tankbustas Aquilons are currently one of the single strongest units in the game at 90 points for a 3-inch deep strike and okay enough damage output. I strongly suspect that that's going to be changed in very, very short order, perhaps potentially even before pre-order dates if we get the balanced data slate this week, and then it could change again in the Guard Codex for all we know. The models were pretty well received though. Otherwise, the Vespid Stingwings get their new special weapons that in 40k can only take if you take a big squad of them. Again, very well received models, lots of people like the look of them, and they were seen as a great update on the previous. In game they are useful enough for the Tau Empire, though generally taken in small squads for doing objective type work, which is kind of a shame, and maybe they could reduce the points cost on the big squads to try and make that version a bit more viable. Otherwise, beyond them, we've got the reboxing of a whole bunch of other kill teams, another 10 of them. For the new Kill Team edition, they're basically taken these all away for a bit for repackaging and then re-released them in 3 separate waves. This one's now the 3rd one, so it should be all the ones coming back that are going to. I'm sure the release wave of these will be in demand by quite a few people out there, both Kill Team players and 40k players that haven't been able to pick up these units for a while if they wanted to add them to their army. As mentioned for the rest, the pattern with these has been basically increase the price by something in the region of like $5 to $10, just kind of arbitrarily. Not sure if it's to do with the cardboard tokens that Games Workshop's trying to see as extra value, or the fact that the kits are just kind of cool with a lot of good options compared with other 40k ones. In any case, it seems that they feel that they can try and sell them for more. They'll also each come out with a Kill Team card deck, which is bought separately. In any case, we've got the Sisters Novitiate, which will be good to see return for them as they can be kit bashed into all manner of characters for the sororitas, the Navy Breachers, and the Exaction Squad for the Imperial Agents, the Hierotech Circle for the Necrons, which can be an okay mini discount deal with the Cryptek and the Immortals, the Hearthkin Salvagers for the Leagues of Votan, the Hand of the Archon for the Drukari, the Felgor Ravager Beastmen for the Chaos Space Marines, the Farstalker Kinband for the Kroot, the Death Corps Veteran Infantry units, which I guess will remain the core way to get Death Corps infantry into an army, given it doesn't seem that they're getting a more line infantry non-veteran option, and the Blades of Cain Striking Scorpions for the Eldari, again still 10 models in the box for that. Looks like it's the last week of those, so everything is being re-released after these ones. I think they did say that certain ones weren't planning to come back anytime soon, like the Galapox Infected. In any case, I'll hopefully cycle back to these later in the week when their new prices are known. Otherwise for releases, we've got a few other things too. Legions Imperialis has a bunch of stuff coming out for the Dark Mechanicum, some of their Creepy Stalker Walkers and Lesser Automata, plus the Thanatar Siege Automata for that scale. There's Genestealer Cult content in White Dwarf this week, an army showcase for them, some lore of their exploits in the Charnoth Expanse, which seems to be the current narrative focus, with the setting for the Kill Team launch plus the grand narrative campaign that they did. And I believe that Genestealer Cult have been pretty active in the area before it all kicked off. And probably the most interesting thing is a bunch of Crusade rules to expand on their index offerings. And according to the front cover, it also says they've got some ability tokens that come with those Crusade rules, so it seems like an extra layered mechanic of some sort or another. Finally, for some Necron collectors out there, there's a signed edition of The Infinite and the Divine. This one was the Trazyn the Infinite versus Orican the Divine book that seems to be fairly widely regarded as perhaps the best Necron novel that Games Workshop have come out with, written by Robert Rath. These ones get a fun and all very Necron cover, numbered and signed by the author themselves, all for a price far more than the normal copy, I'm sure. Sometimes they can disappear rather quickly, sometimes they don't always sell out immediately. I have a feeling that at least there'll be some good demand for this one though. In any case though, let me know your thoughts as to this week's releases. Would you be tempted to pick up Ratlings and Tankbustas from the big new set? Have you been waiting on any of the Reboxed kill teams for a while? And any love for either Lieutenant Titus or the Volkus Terrain? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. As mentioned, if you were picking them up anyway and wanted to support the channel, there's the affiliate discount links in the video description. Feel free to check them out if you'd like to, and hopefully I'll cycle back to these sometime in the week whenever I've seen some confirmed pricing. For those of you in the USA as well, just a heads up that it's the last day of the big sale on at Wargame Portal. On top of their 15% sale, they've got $20 gift cards on every $200 order, which basically adds up to being about the best deal on Warhammer that you can get in the USA. That might just be of interest to some people if you were looking to pick up quite a lot of models in the near future. In any case though, I'll leave this there for this one. Look forward to hearing your takes down in the comments. Feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'm sure I'll be back in the not too distant future to talk more detachments. And as mentioned, I'll get back to this one later in the week when we've got some confirmed prices. Feel free to check out the Patreon page down in the video description if you'd like to support. But otherwise, just an enormous thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.